The first words hit me like a hammer. "You'll thank me someday. You're free now." Sarah's voice was calm, almost cheerful as she said it, as if she were announcing the weather rather than the unraveling of my life. Could barely breathe. The air in our small apartment felt thick, almost suffocating, like it had trapped all the years I'd spent thinking I knew her. My chest ached in a way I didn't know was possible. "Free," croaked, my voice breaking. "Free from what?" "From us." She shrugged, smoothing the skirt of her dress as though this were just another mundane Monday, not the day she had shattered everything. Her eyes, once warm and soft, were distant, cool. There was no regret there. No apology. Just a strange, confident conviction. "You'll understand later," she said. "I've done this for both of us. You'll see. Trust me." I wanted to laugh, but it came out hollow. "Trust you? You betrayed me, Sarah. That's not trust. That's. My throat tightened. "How could you?" She avoided my gaze, fiddling with the edge of her sleeve. "It's not what you think." But it was exactly what I feared. The truth, when it came out, was worse than I ever imagined. I had come home early one Friday, thinking to surprise her with the flowers I had picked up on my way from work. The door was unlocked, which was strange. She usually hated leaving it that way. I stepped inside, calling her name, and the smell of her perfume mingled with something foreign. I followed it to the bedroom. There, in our bed, she was entwined with someone else. Not just a fleeting kiss, not a lapse of judgment. This was deliberate, repeated, a betrayal I couldn't immediately process. My stomach turned, my hands shook, and I could barely speak. "Mark," she started, startled, and I felt that same cruel calmness in her voice that I had heard just days later. I didn't wait. I didn't ask. I just left. I walked out into the cold evening, letting the city lights blur into streams of orange and white as I tried to make sense of the collapse of everything I believed in. The days that followed were a fog. Sarah stayed calm, collected, almost businesslike. I couldn't even hate her properly because part of me was still desperately in love with her. I kept asking myself, had I missed the signs? Had I been blind, naive, stupid? One evening, I found her sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She looked up at me, smiled softly, and said, "You don't need to hate me forever, you know. You'll thank me one day." The words twisted inside me like a knife. "Thank you, for what?" "For destroying my life." She shook her head. "For setting you free. You don't realize it yet, but you were trapped, Mark. Trapped in something that wasn't making either of us happy. I just gave you the chance to be yourself again." I laughed bitterly. "The chance to be free. From you. From love." Her lips quivered. Maybe she regretted it. Maybe she didn't. I couldn't tell. I never could again. Weeks passed, and I started seeing the truth in her words. Not in the way she imagined, not with gratitude, but with clarity. I was free from the illusion I had been living under. The ideal of our marriage, the idea that love meant unwavering loyalty and perfect compatibility. It was gone. She had shown me that I didn't truly know her, and maybe I didn't truly know myself either. I spent nights wandering the streets, trying to lose myself in the city, trying to drown the images of her with another man in my bed. Sometimes I ended up at the little cafe where we had first met. I would sit there, nursing a coffee, listening to the quiet hum of conversation around me, and think about how everything could look so perfect on the outside while rotting inside. It wasn't just betrayal that hurt. It was the realization that I had ignored the cracks, the lies, the subtle signs of her dissatisfaction. And now there was no fixing it. No conversation could undo what had been done. One rainy afternoon I got a message from her. "Meet me. I need to explain." I almost didn't go. Part of me wanted to scream at her, to hurt her as she had hurt me, to make her understand the void she had left inside me. But another part, I wanted answers, closure, maybe a little hope. We met at the park, under the skeletal branches of early winter trees. She looked different, softer, more fragile, as if carrying a weight I hadn't been able to see before. "Mark," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't do it because I stopped loving you. I did it because I realized I was hurting you just by staying. I thought if I left, if I forced the end, maybe you'd find your own life, your own happiness, without the constant tension, the hidden resentment. I stared at her, the words sinking in, twisting with anger, confusion, and a strange, aching relief. So you cheated on me to free me? She nodded. Tears glistened in her eyes. I know it doesn't make sense. Wrong. I was wrong. But I thought, maybe one day you'd see it the way I hoped you would. I wanted to protect you, from me, from us. I shook my head. You think you can destroy trust, break me, and call it protection? I don't know, she whispered. I just know I loved you, in my own flawed way. Months passed. I stayed in our apartment for a while, packing away memories and relics of a life that was no longer mine. Every item, every photograph, was a reminder of her duplicity, and of the love that had once been real. Hurt. It cut deeper than any knife. But slowly, painfully, I began to understand what she meant by freedom. I started reconnecting with myself. Old hobbies, long-forgotten friends, dreams I had buried under the weight of our marriage. I traveled to small towns, wandered unfamiliar streets, and discovered joy in moments unshared with anyone else. It wasn't happiness in the way I used to imagine it, but it was honesty, and honesty became a strange kind of relief. One night, standing on the balcony overlooking the city, I realized something terrifying and liberating all at once. I was alive again. Not because she had left, but because I had faced the truth she had forced into my hands. And in that moment, I understood her words fully. You'll thank me someday. You're free now. She was right. I was free. Just not in the way she had hoped. I wasn't grateful to her. I wasn't relieved to have her absence as an excuse to rebuild my life. I was free because I had survived her betrayal and emerged with a clearer sense of myself. I didn't need her approval, her guidance, or her rationalizations. I didn't need to understand why she had chosen her own version of love over the promises we had made. I only needed to reclaim my own existence, one painstaking day at a time. Years later, I still think of her sometimes. Not with bitterness, not with longing, but with the recognition that she played a role in shaping me. The man I became after that betrayal was different from the man I had been. Harder, yes. Wiser, maybe. But alive. And that, above all, mattered. When I finally let myself smile, genuinely, at a memory not tainted by pain, I realized the paradox. Her greatest betrayal had become my liberation. She had wanted me to thank her. I did, in a way, but for a gift she never intended to give me. Freedom. My freedom. And nothing would ever take that away.